Good morning, brother, and welcome to another daily devotional. This morning I want to read from Psalm 55 and verse number 22. There we read these words: "Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will not permit the righteous to be moved." Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. This is the gentleman that we want to think about this morning in our daily devotions. His name is Joseph Scriven. If you aren't familiar with his name, you'll certainly be familiar with his most famous work, which we will chat about later. He was born in 1819 in Ballymoney Lodge in Banbridge, County Down, so he was a local. His father was Captain John Scriven of the Royal Marines, and his mum was Jane Medicott. He was baptised on the 10th of September 1819 in St. Patrick Parish Church. Later, he went to Dublin to be educated at Trinity College, Dublin, where in 1842 he graduated. He was planning to get married. He had met a girl and they were engaged, and they were due to get married the year after Scriven graduated from Trinity College, Dublin. The night before the wedding, his wife tragically drowned. That, of course, was a heartbreaking experience for Scriven. And that tragedy, combined with various family problems that he was having, possibly as a result of his taking upon himself beliefs and teachings of the Plymouth Brethren when his parents were very much Church of Ireland, resulted in him going to Canada and settling in Woodstock, Ontario. In 1855, he got news of his mum being seriously ill, and with a view to comforting her, he wrote her a letter, and in that letter he wrote a poem. The poem was entitled "Pray Without Ceasing." He never thought for 1 minute that it would be published and become famous, but it did, and it's better known to us from the title, "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." He wrote it as a personal, pastoral, spiritual help for his mother, and it became a personal spiritual help to many, many more over the years. In 1857, he moved to Port Hope in Canada and fell in love once again. His marriage was arranged and planned, and again, tragically, his bride-to-be contracted pneumonia and died from it. Scriven was devastated. We don't know much about the rest of his life. We do know that he wrote many other poems and hymns. We know that he spent his last years preaching and tutoring and ministering to people. He gave himself in the service of others. In 1886, 9 years after he was due to marry the second girl with whom he had fallen in love, in 1886 he himself drowned at the age of 66. Even to this day, it's not known whether his drowning was a tragic accident or whether it was suicide. What we do know is that he was suffering greatly from depression at the time of his death, and one can understand that considering the circumstances that he had faced in life. One of his friends who was spending time with him whenever he died said the following. He says, "We left him about midnight. I withdrew to an adjoining room, not to sleep, but to watch and to wait. You can imagine my surprise and my dismay when, on visiting the room, I found it empty. All search failed to find a trace of the missing man, until a little after noon, the body was discovered in the waters nearby, lifeless and cold in death. So it's not known whether he went out to take his life or whether he went out for a walk, maybe to clear his head, fell into the water, drowned and died. He was buried beside his second fiancée in Bewdley in Canada. There are memorials erected to him in Canada, and quite recently, Banbridge District Council erected a memorial in Downshire Place. Scriven's words, "What a friend we have in Jesus, all our griefs, sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer." Scriven found comfort in those thoughts. He sought to comfort his mother with them, and he has comforted the hearts of many Christians down the years with the poem that he wrote for his mother. It is, of course, something that arose out of Scriven's own knowledge of the comfort of prayer and of casting one's burdens upon the Lord. Like Scriven, life can bring us through real difficulties, trials and tragedies. And in the midst of such experiences in life, the one from whom we can derive the greatest comfort and the greatest strength is God himself. Yes, our friends, our family members, fellow members in the church, they can all help and do help. But the one who is the greatest help is the one to whom we can go in prayer. We can cast our burdens upon the Lord, knowing that he will sustain us. In Scriven's words, "Are you weak and heavy laden, burdened with a load of care? Jesus only is our refuge. Take it to the Lord in prayer." May God bless you throughout this day. Every blessing, brethren.